So, Coach, first of all, congratulations on the win against Dos Palos. Very
Thank
good
you.
job.
Thank you very much.
How big was the start from your defense getting that block punt? I think it was 2 forced fumbles right out of the gate. You guys jumped up 16-0. I know that your offense gets a lot of credit, but how crucial was the defense to that
Well,
start?
that's really what we challenged our team to do, was to match them emotionally and physically, because they were a very physical team, and they before the snap, after the snap, they tried to push you around a lot and try to get into your head. So we told our kids we got to be ready for a kind of a heavyweight bout with them. So for our defense to come out the way that they did, hungry and really taking it to them, was, I think, it really set the tone for the rest of our team. And that's really, if anybody ever knows, I always defer. And because I was a defensive coordinator before I was a head coach, and I always believe that your defense sets the tempo for everything. Your offense can be good, but how many times we've seen great offensive teams that don't have much of a defense and they end up losing in the end. So we put a lot of earnest on our defense, and so far this season they've done a heck of a job.
Talking about your offense, obviously your offense had a great game against Dos Palos. Alex, who had, I think, 6 touchdown passes, over 300 yards. But to me, one player that stood out was Marco Rodriguez. He had 3 touchdown receptions. I think he had a pick in the game also. How big was his performance?
Well, I think it's an overarching kind of showing from what our offense is. If you try to take away Jackson, you have Marco. If you try to take away Marco, there's Jackson. If you try to take away Isaac, we have Chacon out on the other end. So, the defense tried to take away 2 of our players, and we have 2 other guys that when he's open, he'll make you pay. And so, it's kind of been how our receivers have been this whole season. Whereas if one guy, there's another guy. Marco's last game, a really big game, was against I believe North, where he had like 12 catches. So I think the thing with our receivers is they're all ready to make plays, and Alex is the type of guy that if you're open, he's going to get you the ball, and Marco just happened to be the guy that was on the recipient of those plays. And then, Marco being Marco, Marco's one of those kids that sometimes he makes the easy catches look difficult and the tough ones look easy, and he just came down with some really great catches against some not bad coverage. So he had a heck of a game.
Yeah, Alex really spread the ball out. I mean, I think he had a touchdown pass to Felix. I don't remember if Jackson caught a touchdown.
Jackson had 1 touchdown. Then, I think all 4 of our receivers had a touchdown pass.
Which just goes to show how good Alex is at looking around. He's not, your typical high school quarterback that looks at one guy. He looked really, really good out there. He looked really healthy. His injury getting better.
I think you probably saw Alex as close to back to 100% as we've seen him since, he got hurt at Kennedy. So, and that's what he really brings. Teams are so worried about his legs that most high school defenses do. We're going to stop the run. We're going to stop the run. We're going to stop the run. But he was able to make people pay with his arm, and that's really the thing that makes, I think, him a dangerous. But when he has his arm on, when he's ready to go, it's really tough to stop us defensively, especially when you got a guy like Pedro running the ball behind our offensive line. So
who had another phenomenal 100-yard plus game. I think that's like his 4th or 5th 100-yard game in a row. And what surprised me is almost every time he got tackled, he had 2 or 3 guys trying to bring him down. I don't think anybody tackled him one-on-one.
No, you look at the guy, you look at Pedro, and he's all of 5'5", maybe. I think I have him listed at 5'4" or something like that. And he's only about 160 pounds, sopping wet. But he runs like a 6'4", 220-pound back, the way that he drives his legs. And, he's one of those kids that has done a great job in the weight room to where his lower body is strong. And, it's fun to watch him move because his low center of gravity is shifty. I do not envy guys that try to tackle him one-on-one. He's really, really difficult.
Was there anything from the Dos Palos game that you took that you felt you guys needed to work on this week?
The thing that I felt like we needed to do is offensively. I know we had an opportunity to score at the very beginning of the game, and we kind of floundered a little bit. And I looked at the way we came out, and I think we could have came out and just a little bit sharper at the beginning. And when you get more into games, and now that we're into games now, everybody has guys. So it's not like where you're like, okay, you got guys on both sides of the ball. Those Palos had them, and now with the team we're going to play, we have to take advantage of those situations. And so when our defense gives us the ball inside their 40 or flips the field, we have to take advantage of it and walk away with a point. So that's one of the things that I've been really preaching to the kids this week.
So you guys are getting ready to face a very tough Woodlake team. Their only loss this season came to Carruthers, which is the number 2 seed, who's undefeated. On paper, anyways, they seem like a very similar team to you guys. They throw the ball quite a bit, over 200 yards a game. They run for almost 200 yards a game. Only gave up, I think, 11 points a game this season. How do you think you match up against them?
Well, that's what's fun is that we really are almost a mirror image of each other. You know, they got a quarterback that has thrown for nearly 3,000 yards this year. They have a running back that, you know, has rushed for between the two guys that they've had. They've rushed to a little over 1,000 yards, I think, for both. Offensive line is similar to ours. Defensively, they do a lot of different stuff defensively that we do, but they run a scheme that's very similar to what Kennedy runs. That's probably the biggest thing is this is the first team that we've seen since Highland that can throw the ball. And when you're used to going against run-heavy teams and then you're able to do very simplistic stuff with your coverage, we need to be able to come out and do some things defensively that we haven't done all season just because the opponents really didn't ask for us to do it. So that's pretty much the thing that has me looking at Woodlake is the fact that it's the matchups that you have to do, and that's really what high school is all about, is the matchups. We match up very similar to each other, so then it comes down to who's going to make the least amount of mistakes, and then special teams. So it's going to be a tough game on Friday. It's going to be our biggest test in this side. Obviously, Wasco and even Kennedy were a different style of test. This is a different type of test that we're going to get tested with on Friday.
Well, thank you very much, Coach.
Oh,
Good luck
thanks for
on
having
Friday.
me. Thank you so much. Thank you.